I would have given the points. This is the game. We are back in having the game. Atlanta and New England. Yeah. This is it.
Yep. New England's minus the 3.5 because of the factor of it being at Gillette. That's always a huge deal. Being home for New England is always a big deal. But this is an even game pretty much. If it was at a neutral field, this would be a pick'em game in my opinion. So I'm definitely willing. I'm willing to take the Atlanta on our teaser here at the +6. But at the minus 3.5 or +3.5, I just don't really have any desire to play around with that hook. That hook really scares me in this game. So I'm going to lay off the 3.5. But I will be teasing this game. Teasing Atlanta up.
I'm going to say that this game is definitely an overs-unders affair, and I don't know how anybody doesn't see Atlanta trying to throw the ball and scoring as many points as they humanly can in this game.
Oh, for sure. They're going to throw the ball all over the field. I mean, if the Jets with McCown were exposing the Patriots in the defensive backfield, I just can't. Matt Ryan should have a field day. So I look for this game to go back and forth. Like you were saying, it should be an over game. I wouldn't be surprised to see 60, 70 points scored in this one.
Yeah, easily. Monday night, October 23rd. For those of you that are into really exciting East Coast NFC, what is it, NFC East? Good God.
Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth.
Yep.
Is that what they call that crappy football? It's hard for me to get excited about Washington and Philadelphia, and the only reason I'm excited is I like their quarterbacks. Their quarterbacks have made me excited.
Yeah, look, let me tell you what. Down in Philadelphia, Wentz is the man. I've been high on him since he was drafted. Like I said on a few shows back, my cousin Eddie is a huge Eagles fan. So I got so much Eagles nonsense chirped in my ear by this kid that I had to take notice of it. And you know what? He's right. Wentz is a great quarterback. You know, the Eagles are a good ball club. And over on the other side of the ball, I mean, what can you say about Cousins? I mean, this guy's great. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year again. You know, they keep franchise tagging this guy. And I really hope the Jets jump on him. I really hope that things break for the Jets where they jump on Cousins, he becomes the quarterback, and they find a way to draft Saquon Barkley. If that occurs, the Jets could possibly win a Super Bowl. Anyway,
you live in a very wonderful la-la land. There's no way Washington's going to let a franchise quarterback like that go, and they're going to send him to a 10-year contract.
Well, you know, they've had their chance several times, and you know,
I think they were waiting for this season. I think they had to wait for a breakout season. Now, here's the problem: he's having his breakout season in his contract year.
Yes, exactly. And the Jets have $1 billion in free agency and free agent money that they can spend, and we all know that in football, money talks.
It does.
So, and it's not that far away. I mean, it's a 90-minute train ride. So I think that, you know, if the Jets come with the right kind of deal and the Jets are going in the right direction come the end of this year, say the Jets end this year at 9-7. Well, how many of those games would have they won if they had Cousins?
All right, so here's what's going to happen. Phillip Rivers is going to be traded to Washington before the end of the season. And,
God, as long as Rivers don't go to the Jets. I can't have it.
Oh, how amusing would that be? Washington is plus 4.5 over Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is the team to beat out there. Philadelphia is going to score a gazillion points in this game. I like Washington's defense. I mean, I think it's an unders game for sure, but I think it's all Philadelphia.
You know, I'm going to have to go the other way in this one. I like Washington a lot in this game. I'm playing them on the money line even.
Wow.
You know, one thing I've learned watching the NFC East growing up, you know, as with my dad as a Giants fan and basically all my uncles Giants fans, is anything can happen in the NFC East, and it usually does. These two teams have been going at each other's throats for years and years and years with all kinds of great ball games. I mean, you know, we've had the Randall Cunninghams of the world and the Joe Theismanns of the world, and you know, we've had just some great games between these two teams. And I think that the Eagles are flying high right now, and you know, like we always say in pro football, you're never as good as you are one week or as bad as you are the next. And I think that, like you were saying with the parity in football, I think this is a nice spot for the Washington Redskins and Kirk Cousins to gut out a victory here. And I like the Redskins in a close game. I think they win by about 3 points here. I'm looking at like a 23-20 victory.
I'm going to give a boxing tip to everybody out there to end the show right now because you can get it in most of the Vegas casinos or it will pop up shortly thereafter. Deontay Wilder is fighting on November 4th against Bermane Stervine. For those of you who don't know that name, Bermane Stervine is the guy that Don King had the WBC strap on. that lost to Deontay Wilder. They couldn't find anybody for Deontay Wilder to fight, so he's fighting Bermain Stravine again. Now, if you understand the history, Wilder knocked out Stravine, or technically stopped him in the early rounds. Stravine is plus 1,100. Let me help you guys out. Back the truck up, or at least take a little bit of that rainy day money out and bet it on Bermain Stravine. Deontay Wilder is almost on a 2-year layoff. He hasn't fought anybody. He is so ripe to get just a flat-out underdog to steal his belt. This is a no-brainer in my universe, as when you guys are looking for boxing people that are, the Buster Douglas moment, this has Buster Douglas written all over it. So wherever you are, I know it's on 5 Dimes, Sport Bet. It hasn't showed up in the Vegas casinos yet. It will when we get closer to the fight, because it is the heavyweights. Man, I like this fight. I like this fight a lot. This fight.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm definitely going to jump on board. I'm not too hip on both fighters. I've watched Wilder.
Deontay Wilder hasn't fought anybody. He never leaves his hometown. He's a completely manufactured heavyweight champion who runs for the PBC, and they've managed to try to get him fights with everybody, and everybody tests dirty. Everybody he's tried to fight has tested dirty for steroids.
There's such a problem with that in the heavyweight division. It's crazy in MMA as well. You look at all these top heavyweights in MMA who have been popped, and dude, you're already 240,000 pounds. Why do you need more weight? Relax, stop it.
Well, in the case of Brock Lesnar, you got to cut a few pounds, and a little HGH never hurt anybody for cutting weight.
Well, I have to tell you what, I think there should still be exemptions for HGH, to be honest with you. I mean, if a doctor says that somebody should be on something, they should be on it. And the Nevada – look, let me tell you something about the Nevada State Athletic Commission. These dudes are lucky they can find their ass from their elbow half the time. Never mind about fighter safety. These guys are a bunch of clowns.
Did you know that Adelaide Bird was not suspended after that fight?
I know. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. Andrew and I have not talked about it yet because it just came out the other day, but oh my God.
In the same vein, WADA has taken CBD off their list of substances that'll make you pop.
Nice.
So we're moving more toward getting away from the opiates and letting the athletes medicate themselves with natural remedies. I mean, look, if a guy's vaping a little bit of concentrate makes his leg feel better and he doesn't have to eat 5 Oxycontins, I think the vape is probably the best way to go.
Well, they have to. I'm telling you, because I've tried the patch for my injury. That patch is a miracle.
No, it works. It's 100% proven it works. I know it for a fact as well. I have, chronic shoulder issues after my surgeries, and I don't use pain medication. I've seen what it does to people.
No,
so I'll tell you what.
Where it's at.
Yeah, I will use. I searched high and low for herbal remedies, and nothing has worked as well as the CBD patches.
Yeah, I was flat out shocked at how well it worked and its efficiency of working. For those of you who don't know, sorry you don't have pot legal in your state, but let me tell you, there's stuff behind the counter, phenomenal. No high to it whatsoever.
Oh.
You just slap a patch right onto the... It's the best $10 fix I have ever found in my entire life.
Yeah, it's pure medicinal too. You're not getting a buzz out of it. I mean, you can get a THC infused one if that's what you're looking for, but this is just purely medicinal for healing. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that it's honestly miracle stuff, like you said. People who've never experienced it, like I have a grandmother who's 86 and she's even used it. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that the stigma needs to be taken away from it. It needs to be legalized on a federal level. That way that it's available to any and all Americans who need it without having to go get a medical marijuana card where you forego your rights to own a gun. So, that's a whole other show, obviously. But like Lee was saying, if you get a chance and you're injured and you have a chance to get something like that for your injury, it's definitely the future, the wave of the future.
No doubt about it. And I'll end on this note because I'm just not going to let it go. Apparently, the shooting in Vegas is over. Apparently.
Oh yeah.
Am I the only one who's noticing how social media? It's over. It's over.
You know, the willful ignorance, Lee, and the cognitive dissonance is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. I mean, we're getting there's reports breaking, all sorts of reports breaking. I'm not going to spread rumors on our radio show, but if you just Google, you know, the security guard's name or the actual incident, there's all kinds of crazy conflicting reports, and the sheriff's department and the FBI could easily put an end to all of it by just coming out and giving the evidence that they have. If it's a lone gunman, like they said, then what's the big deal?
That's certainly it. And the well, here's the thing with the whole thing that's going on. The no contact has caused literally the world at large. They're not talking about gun control anymore. They might get rid of bump stocks. They might do. Nobody cares anymore. They've all moved on. We're now on to Harvey Weinstein. That's the latest trend.
That's why it was released. I believe it was that Harvey Weinstein was released to take the spotlight away from this so that they could work a little bit more in the shadows and the FBI could figure out their cover story. Let me tell you what, when I'm talking like this for everyone listening, I don't mean you know your average beat cop, the guy that's on the street in his patrol car. I respect those kind of guys 1,000%, even though growing up they taught me a lesson or two. But the fact of the matter is this: the FBI is a corrupt organization. It needs to be done away with. Look at the way they handled the Hillary Clinton investigation. Look at the way they're handling this whole entire fake dossier that supposedly had Trump with hookers in Russia. I mean, it's an absolute joke. The FBI is a joke. The investigation is turned into a joke. And anyone who believes that it was just a guy with a bump stock and that's it, is that they're out to lunch. The more you listen to it, the more it was belt-fed machine gun fire. So I don't know this. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. Obviously, I'm not privy to all of the evidence, but a lot more is going on than they're saying. And I have to believe that it's to protect tourism. And if some of the other rumors that are breaking turn out to be true, we'll discuss those at a later date. But like I said, I'm not going to demean anyone's character, off the cuff. In this new age, it's easy for people to, you talk about people on a radio show or on the internet and then have people's whole lives ruined. And I'm not in the business of doing that. So I won't, do any of that nonsense. So but what I will say is,
no, go ahead.
What's that?
No, go ahead.
What I will say is this: keep asking questions. Don't let them off the hook. If you see a post on social media from the, LVMPD, make sure you're asking them why they're barring journalists from the news conference. I mean, Laura Loomer, who has been barred from the news conference, who isn't, the epitome of what a perfect journalist should be. But that's neither here nor there. She has every right to be in that news conference. She's the one that made them change the timeline by bringing up the 25th instead of the 28th. So, why did they bar her from the news conferences? Why is Mike Tokes barred from the news conferences? It's very telling by who they let into these news conferences and who they don't. It's some of these investigative reporters haven't done any investigating on this story.
Because Harvey Weinstein.
It's so crazy. And what's so crazy about the whole Harvey Weinstein thing as well? If
I don't know, but I love his contract. I wish I could get that contract. If that contract is for real, I want that contract.
Look, imagine this. Imagine Donald Trump had a daughter who was 17, 18 years old, and as president, he sends him to his boy, and his boy ends up being Harvey Weinstein, the way that the Obamas sent their daughter to be his intern. Can you imagine what the news, how it will be exploding? So my point is this. What I'm trying to say is this. The media doesn't have our best interest in mind. They're passing their narrative. They're getting their narrative. You could look this up. The CIA has used the media in the past to pass off disinformation on the American public, and this is documented stuff. They've used the Washington Post. They've used the New York Times as outlets to pass on disinformation to the American people. So it's up to us as citizens to continue to ask questions, but to do it in a manner that befits a human being. You don't want to be crass about things and just start throwing crazy scenarios out there. But what I will do is I'll always follow breadcrumbs, and if I think that something doesn't make sense in the city that I love, I'm gonna ask questions. And anybody who has a problem with that, well, we could have a private conversation.
Direct message him. And if any of those of you who are listening going, Lee, it sounds like when you push buttons on Andrew. Yes, I know the buttons to push on Bobby. I knew what I was doing. I knew the road I was going down. It's like me saying something about the Raiders moving to Vegas. I know exactly what I'm doing with the show, people. Calm down.
That's why you're so
I'm
good
in
at
charge.
marketing, You got that direct messaging, and you know how to get your audience fired up, ready to go.
That's why I get paid the money for marketing and content. All right, let's end on a happier note. Best Las Vegas show.
The best Las Vegas show for me is the original Cirque du Soleil at Mystere.
Wow, at Mystere.
Yeah, I love Mystere. You know, my uncle has worked there for like 20 years. I've seen the show. I've seen the evolution over the years. One of our good family friends plays the